right, everybody, welcome to the Pro-Am race for round 3 of the Sigma GT Challenge. We're here at Interlagos, like I said, with our Pro-Am drivers, and tonight I'm joined by the one and only distinct Artemis. How you doing tonight, Art?
Good, how about you?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. So technical issues aside from the evening last night, apologies to everyone that tuned in expecting the Pro-Am race. They didn't get one. So we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a makeup race here tonight while it's still fresh in everybody's mind. They still know the track.
We got 2 commentators to make it even better.
We got
so,
2 commentators.
Going
We decided to go full all out for these guys tonight. Pretty stacked grid. We got 13 drivers with us here tonight. I'm going to start from the top, work our way down. We've got F. Rosario. Following that with M. Williams. He's one of the NLR League members. Art. And then we got Tinsley joining us tonight, followed by Nos Fox. Nos Fox running in his Mustang. There we've got bottle-fed Mustang. Shockingly not in a Mustang. He's going to be running in the Moza Mercedes tonight. Now, we get over it. We've got Sweaty coming back for another race tonight in the Toyota Concept. TCR captain representing the first 911 that we've seen on the track. And we got Petey, first-timer, coming through in a little BMW coupe. I love to see the diversity with it. Then we've got Jenny running a Flying Fox, a Sexy Lexi Group 3 car tonight. And then SoCal also joining us on track in an Aston. We got Method Man coming in.
Neon. Can't miss him.
It's quite the color on that one. We're definitely going to be able to see that one coming down the track. Following right behind, we got Method in the Renault. Then we've got Merch sitting on track, watching the traffic go by in his Mazda Concept there. He's going to go ahead and let Clive go by. Clive rounding up the rest of the track in the other 911 on the field tonight. Let's head back up front here. We've got Rosario. He's on his second lap. He's going to finish his hot lap here. Let's see what kind of time he's going to set. Rosario in one of the other 911s on the field. Quite a lot of those, Art.
Hold on, my bad. I have an audio issue on my end, so while I fix that, I'm just going to mute for a moment.
That's fine. We'll go ahead and riff. Rosario setting the first fast lap, 131.27. Not going to be quick enough, though. So we got Williams coming through with 30.5. He's going to go ahead and take that pole position away from Rosario by less than a tenth of a second. We got Nos Fox also setting himself into the 30s with a 30.8. Bottle fed, not quite able to dip into the 30s in the Mustang just yet, setting a 31.0. Tinsley coming in with a 31.0. Just 1/100th of a second off of Bottle Fed. Then we've got Sweaty coming through, setting a 31.3. Jenny setting a 31.4. TCR captain with a 31.6. Petey, newcomer in the BMW Z4 with a 31.8. Method with a 32.3 in the Renault. We've got SoCal with a 38.3. A little bit of an issue on his first hot lap, it looks like. We've got Merch getting ready to cross the line to finish his first hot lap here. He's going to go ahead and set a 1:51.6. As we saw earlier, he was sitting off to the side of the track here, letting the rest of the traffic go by. He's going to go ahead and take advantage of that clear air in front of him to take as many hot laps as he can before the 10 minutes is up for our qualifier here. That's going to be followed by our 1-hour main event. Art, have you joined us again?
I have not. My Elgato is doing Elgato things.
Now, if anybody streams, we know Elgatos can be finicky buggers.
Oh yeah, it's like the new thing whenever I start OBS now. It just does not want to, do the OBS things either. So, it's cool. We don't need sound.
Well, we'll get it figured out here. So Williams and Rosario both coming across the line for their second hot laps. Not able to improve, but we do have Williams sitting out in front with a 30.1 now. He is able to improve on his time. Rosario with a 30.7, not able to improve on his fastest lap. We've got Bottle Fed dipping down to a 30.6. That's going to be good enough for 4th place right now. And shocker, up front, we got Jenny in the Lexus in 2nd place now, dipping into the 30s for the first time of 30.6. Going to be 3/100ths off of Rosario's time. Dropping down the field here in 6th, we got SoCal in the Toxic Green Aston. He's going to be down in 6th place with a 130.7. Sweaty with a 130.9. Tinsley dropping down into 8th in his Mercedes with a 130.9 as well. We've got Victory Pace Racing's Clive Bigsby here for 31.5. Not able to find those 30-second lap times just yet. Still a little bit over 4 minutes to go in the laps, though. We've We've got Petey, the newcomer, coming in with 31.5, able to improve on his quickest lap time by just a little bit. TCR captain with 31.6, chomping at the bit for that 10th place. We got VPR Merch sitting in 12th with a 31.9. Method still sitting with that 32.3 as his fast lap time. So 2 seconds separating all of these drivers here throughout the qualifying right now as we get Rosario coming across the line again with a 30.2, knocking Jenny down into 3rd place. Williams not able to capitalize. Nosfox setting a 30.4. Bottlefed setting a 30.5. Sweaty with a 30.6. That's dropping Jenny down the grid order, going from 2nd to 6th. But as she gets ready to cross the line, she's going to go ahead and set 8. Ooh, a 31.8. Not good enough to reclaim any of those positions. The 6th place still sitting comfortably right now with a 10th of a second separating her and SoCal. Art, how goes the battle with the Elgato? It sounds like it's a losing one, doesn't it, chat? Let's check in with SoCal and Toxic Green Mustang. We've got a 30.7 as the fast lap. Going blue, though, taking almost 2/10 of a second off of his time. So going just a little bit quicker here. That might be good enough to knock Jenny down into 7th place there. We'll see. We do have Petey out in front of both of those drivers right now with a half-second penalty. He's going to have to serve that as he comes across the line. That's going to affect his next lap after that as the penalty zone. Horrible spot on this track, right on the main straightaway. Get ready to cross the start-finish line. We got Merch here sitting in 12th at 31.9, still doing him good to keep him ahead of Method by about 3/10. Method in the Renault running that 32.2. Go ahead and stay on board with him as he comes through the hairpins now. We'll wait for him to cross into the next sector and see if he is going to set a better time yet. Method out of the hairpins, getting ready to come up to the penultimate corner now. Method coming through Wanko down the straight now. Not sure if he's going to be able to capitalize on that. Oh, not quite. 32.8 for his fast last time. It's going to be Williams. And is that Art that I hear that has come back from the Elgato death?
I have come back. The problem was that I forgot to plug in my dongle. So, you know, big brain.
We're pros here,
fine.
Chad. This is perfectly fine. Quite a bit of action happening on the track here. We've got Williams and Rosario still sitting out in 1-2, and Captain making his way up into P3. Jenny was sitting out in P2 for a little while, but everyone started
Rosario
finding...
is going purple by 0.086.
Well, not only is Rosario going purple, Williams also going purple as well as he comes out of Wanko. The penultimate corner is coming down the final straight now. Let's see what Rosario's got. He's going to cross the finish line first.
Ooh. Got a little bit better and closer to Williams. Not quite to take that pole position.
Oh, and Williams less than 100th of a second off this fast lap.
Coming out, taking pole with a 130.064 with Nosfox only 0.057 behind.
Quite a bit of leader change happening across the top of the grid there. We've got Captain still sitting in 3rd, but Williams and Rosario now getting knocked down to 4th and 5th, and we've got less than 20 seconds left in this qualifier here. So this is going to be it for most drivers. Looking at the map up there in the top right of your screen, chat, most of these drivers aren't going to be able to cross that start-finish line and start another lap here because our qualifying ends officially now.
They're all going to be on their final lap now, so they're going to have to make this last one count.
So running through the grid here, it looks like Clive is going to be the last one to get himself a full lap in here. So I'm going to stay on board with him. Clive sitting down in 10th. He's got 0.4 of a second that he needs to find if he wants to knock SoCal down into 10th place and move himself up one position. Is going a little bit slower here.
Very marginal, though. I mean, if he can get a really good exit coming out onto that straight, he may be able to make that up. Still a shot.
Let's see what
Maybe not, you know, 0.4, but it'll be close.
You know, Interlagos is one of those tracks where there's not a whole lot of acceleration. You do let the car do a lot of the work, just coasting around many of these hairpins he's going through now.
And Tinsley sets a new record of a 130.009, absolutely just rocketing around the track.
Just like Bottlefed also setting a new record there.
Oh, taking advantage of that last lap, that last flyer. Ooh, and Clive is almost 2/10 up on his time.
So let's see what he's got as he comes out of Wanko here. He's coming down the final straight and approaching the start-finish line. Is he going to be able to hold on to that 1/10 and at least set himself a better lap, or is he going to be able to take... Now, Petey going 700ths of a second faster.
He is really pushing those boundaries. Oh, no! Oh,
Clive,
so close.
Clive getting knocked down into 11th by Petey. Petey taking that Z4 as hard as he can across the line, coming in 10th. Wow, what a shocker of a qualifier there. We got Tinsley sitting out in first with Nosfox in second. TCR captain in third. We've got Williams sitting in fourth in the 911. We've got Rosario also in the 911, knocked down into fifth. Both those drivers at the last second having better laps set ahead of them, getting knocked down in the fourth and fifth. We've got Bottlefed rounding it out in sixth. Sweaty coming in seventh. Jenny coming in eighth. Ninth and 10th belonging to SoCal and Petey. GPR Clive Bigsby, a Victory Pace Racing member, getting knocked down into 11th at the very last second by just 7/100ths of a second. We've got Method sitting in 12th. GPR Merch rounding out our grid in 13th.
Yeah, I mean, these Pro-Ams are really showing how close they are in times, especially the first half of the grid. I mean, we saw in qualifying for the first initial round of qualifying, they were all within, what, a half a second of each other? I mean, and now we're seeing this lobby, and they're within 2 seconds from first to last, which is still crazy.
Yeah, I think within qualifying, the entire Pro-Am lobby was within 7/10 of a second of each other. And not only that, we even have drivers in the AM lobby that were within tenths of that Pro-Am lobby.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been insane this whole series, and it's been great because it just really breeds insane close racing that gives us all the action to commentate.
It really does. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, just 1 minute here while drivers go ahead and get ready for their 1 hour endurance. We'll be right back. We'll get this candle lit, everybody. Stay tuned.
Ready.
All right, everybody, it's race time. 1 hour to go. We're going to go ahead and get this thing started. They are going to have false starts here. It's 5 lights on. When they go off, these guys are going to pedal to the metal and go. 5 lights on. Lights are out. Drivers are off. Tinsley getting a clean start. Nosfox squiggling a little bit there as he comes off the line. Captain coming up right alongside him. There's all drivers approach T1 here. Let's see what's going to happen as everybody comes in clean. Captain pushing a little bit wide. Tinsley pushing a little bit wider there. A little bit of bumper contact between everybody, but nothing major as everybody gets through T1 cleanly. We got Tinsley still leading out in front. Captain sitting in a P2. Williams in P3, Nosfox sitting down in P4 with Rosario coming up in P5 now as all drivers get ready to come off the straightaway into the left-hand corner there. It looks like everyone's starting to line up here now.
They're all settling in for that first lap, all coming in a line, and they're all very close to each other. We're going to see some battles these first couple of laps.
We're already starting to see a battle happening for a P6 here. We've got Bottlefed in P7, SoCal sitting in P8, and Jenny in P9. All these drivers starting to group up, bunch up a little bit of contact and jockeying for position as they're getting ready to come up to the right-hand corner there. Looks like they're starting to settle themselves down here.
Bottlefed pulled away a little bit. He's right behind Sweaty, probably trying to peek and look around him.
A little bit of contact between Rosario and Bottlefed there. Bottlefed pushing the car a little bit wide with a little bit of understeer. Rosario trying to take the outside line, takes a little bit of contact, he's going to drop behind Bottlefed there. All drivers come through Junko onto the straight now. That's going to move Bottlefed up into P5. Yep, and Rosario down into P6 with Sweaty chomping at the bit, less than 0.3 of a second behind, down in P7.
Oh yeah, he's eating up that draft, I can tell you that for sure.
And speaking of draft, we've got Petey right on the bumper of Jenny, who herself is on the bumper right of SoCal. Petey making a move, trying to dive along the inside there as all drivers get ready to come up T1. Petey makes that move along the inside stick. Jenny trying a little bit of a switchback. She's not going to be able to make that stick as they come out. Petey almost pushing
Petey
there. Yep.
Almost lost it, but he held that car. So GG. But Jenny now is right up behind him. Looks like she might be making a move on the inside here.
Jenny a little bit later on the brakes. She is going to make a nice clean move along the inside. Petey looking for a switchback.
Oh, and he's taking that inside into the next turn, and it looks like he is taking that position back.
Incredible driving from these two drivers right here, right now, as they both jockey for P9. We still have Tinsley sitting out in front with Captain and Williams sitting in P2 and P3 right now. The hot battle going on is between Jenny and SoCal. Ooh, SoCal getting a little squiggly right there. I'm sorry, Jenny and Petey. But SoCal getting a little squiggly as he was coming through one of the hairpins there. It's going to give Petey and Jenny an opportunity to close that gap between them there.
Oh, and Clive had actually gone off track, so it looks like dropping behind a little bit. There's going to be a little bit of a gap now between Method, but it's still early on, so I'm sure we'll see him come back up to the pack relatively soon.
Yo, no worries for Clive Bigsby. Only 3 minutes down in this race.
If there's ever time to go off and make a slight mistake while you're still settling in, it's in the first couple of laps, because he's still got the rest of the hour to make up for it.
Oh, how we know that from experience. But speaking of an off, TCR captain having a little bit of an issue coming through T1 right there, going a little bit too far inside. He's going to pick himself up a 2.5 penalty because of it.
Wow, that's going to hurt.
Gran Turismo absolutely punishing him for that one. That's going to give Williams, Bottle Fed, and Knox Fed an opportunity to go ahead and take that position away.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, Williams and Bottle Fed, they can just kind of chill back there. And Nosfox, too, they'll probably be able to pass him because you figure that 1.5 is going to be more like 3 seconds. Between the slowdown and the get back up to speed.
Penalties absolutely punishing in Gran Turismo for some of these corner cuts
well,
here.
On this track, too, I mean, the actual penalty line where you serve it, isn't it on the straightaway?
You know, I saw out of the corner of my eye there through it that he was quite off into the green stuff there. So, yeah, it's just one of those things, if you know with Gran Turismo, you can get on the brakes when you're off and maybe trick yourself into not getting the penalty and slow yourself down. But in this case, he's going to go ahead and serve that 2.5 penalty now. We're going to see Williams go ahead and drive by there. Nosfox is going to go ahead and take the inside line, and Bottlefed probably with enough momentum as well. Going to push wide.
Wow.
As Captain tries to defend the inside line a little bit there. He's going to go and take P4. Captain dropping down into P5 from that 2.5 penalty.
Still close to Bottlefed, though, and he can hang on to that draft, so I'm sure he'll be fighting his way right back up.
Yep, still a 2.5.
Extra cautious now.
Still a 2.5 separating him and Rosario, so nothing too terribly worrying behind him right now. He can focus on his race out front and make up for that penalty that he had to serve.
Got a little bit of breathing room for now.
Checking down with the rest of the field.
Now Rosario, on the other hand, he's got Sweaty to worry about right behind him, and right behind Sweaty is SoCal. So this whole train is going to be probably pushing it back and forth.
Rosario, Sweaty, SoCal, Petey, and Jenny. Got a train of 5 cars here. Sweaty having a little bit of a peek along the outside of Rosario there. Decides to think better of it. He's going to slide back into position there, but SoCal now chomping a bit behind him. SoCal wanting to take an inside line to the next hairpin.
He is close, man. He is right up on that bumper.
Really taking the bumper. Takes a little bit of an inside line, hoping for a little bit of a cutback. It's not able to make it stick. The next move probably going to happen as they come out of Wanko here, up onto the straightaway. Sweaty also going to be able to pick up a little bit of draft off of Rosario, so let's see what happens as these 3 drivers come down through the Milton Court onto the straightaway here. SoCal starting to close that gap a little bit. Probably not enough room to make a peek along the inside there. He's not. Ooh, he's thinking about it. He is going to make it stick. Sweaty going a little bit wide there. Didn't see any contact on screen. SoCal moving himself
SoCal
up into
taking
7th.
advantage.
Petey almost pushing a little wide there. Tire just barely staying on track. And hop on board with Jenny's. Petey's struggling a little bit out of the center curves there. Jenny keeping
Jenny
it clean.
takes advantage of that mistake and just absolutely rocketing in front. But he's going to the inside, trying to take that position right back, and doesn't quite make it. Jenny's going to have to block for her life now if she wants to keep this for a little bit, because he's going to be right up in that draft.
So Jenny and Petey coming up the right-hander now, getting ready to start the first of the hairpin sequences.
And she is really hugging those insides, trying to make sure that he can't take that inside line on her.
Yeah, Lexus being a little bit of a longer, wider car. Ooh, a little bit of contact. Petey coming in a little bit hot there. Petey thinking about making a move along the inside as they come down through up to Wanko now. Petey decides to think better of it. He's going to slide in behind Jenny there as they come through the penultimate corner now onto the front straightaway.
Have to watch out for this turn 1 coming up after the straight, because he is right up in that draft. So I'm sure you're going to see him trying to make it a move either on the inside or the outside going into this Brave.
He is right on the bumper. I'm on board with Petey right now. He's going to make a move along the inside. Petey hard on the anchors.
He makes it stick.
He does make it stick, going a little bit far inside on the corner.
Ooh, and then he goes a little bit wide going into that corner, but he hangs on to it. I don't think he's going to get a penalty. He still had his tires on the curbs.
He's not.
Jenny is right there.
A little bit of a bump draft from Jenny as she tried to make her way inside. Not enough room, though, to be able to get around. Petey was struggling once again coming out of the center curves. Petey going a little bit wide, coming through left-hander, trying to give Jenny an opportunity to move up. Petey comes over to block.
Rough, but I didn't see any major contact of any sort. That ended up as best.
Quite the battle going on between these two drivers here throughout the start of the race already. Several position changes between them. Unfortunately, the battle is costing them a bit of time now. 2.5 seconds separating Petey and Sweaty. Sweaty and SoCal starting to run away from the other two drivers here. Let's go ahead and check in with the rest of the grid order here. We got Tinsley still sitting out in front, 3 seconds ahead of Williams. Williams almost 2 seconds ahead of Nosfox, who's sitting in third right now. Nosfox under a little bit of pressure right now from Bottlefed and TCR captain as all 3 drivers come out of the penultimate corner onto the front straightaway here. Nosfox still with 0.7 of a second lead. Bottlefed hard on the anchors coming into the set of curves there. Trying to make up a little bit of time. Does push a little bit wide. It's going to give Captain an opportunity to make up a little bit of time. So battle for P3 here brewing within the next lap or two.
I will say, too, if you look for that, Tinsley, Williams, Nosfox, and Bottlefed are all on softs. So we're going to be seeing them pit a lot sooner. PCR at this point, he's got to sit back and relax for a bit because he's got the mediums on, so he's going to be able to last a bit longer and stay out and take those first 4 positions in the pit.
Yep, after seeing some of the other races and driving in them last night, the strategy can go one way or the other. It's as long as you commit to it and stay to it, you might be able to finish strong in this race here. There is no one correct strategy over the other, we found out.
Yeah, it seems like they're back half of the grid. Well, I shouldn't even really say half because everybody after P4, but it seems like everybody else is on the medium tires. But one thing I have noticed that Dario is, it looks like he's managing his tires just about the best out of everybody. He's still hanging in there at P6, so I'm curious to see how many laps he's going to try and push these medium.
Rosario coming down the front straightaway now, getting ready to start his 8th lap. He is running with a little bit more than half a tank of fuel. I'm curious if he was trying to run a fuel-saving strat here, going to go for a 1-stop. It'll be quite a brave move here on this track. This is notorious for eating up the soft tires. He does have himself a 4-second gap to Sweaty, who's sitting in 7th place, and SoCal still chomping at the bit behind him in 8th. And it looks like Petey and Jenny have decided to settle their differences for the time being. Now only 1.5 seconds separating Petey and SoCal, down from that 2.5 seconds when we last checked in with them.
Jenny's still right there, though. I'm sure she's going to at least want to try and stick in that draft, because if Petey's going to be catching up to SoCal, she can stay in that draft and have him bring her right along with him.
And save a little bit of fuel in the process. Let's check back down with the rest of the grid here. We've got Merch sitting behind Jenny, 6 seconds separating. He's down in P11. We've got Method in P12 here in the Renault. And we've got Clive trying to make up time as best as he can here. He's in the Victory Pace Racing 911 down in P13. Tinsley, Williams, and Nosfox still rounding out our grid here. Bottlefed and Captain starting to make up a little bit of time. It looks like that battle for P3 is starting to get a little bit closer to happening here, maybe within the next half of a lap or so.
I mean, I wouldn't really be surprised to start seeing a couple of mistakes coming from the first four, especially now their soft tires are just about dead. But Williams here is actually managing them the best. He's still got a little bit less than half of his tire life in the softs, so how dead he'll run those. But it looks like Tinsley probably only has another lap or two. Same with Nosfox and same with Bottlefed. So it'll be interesting if Williams tries to go an extra lap compared to the rest of them on the soft tires.
And speaking of Bottlefed, it looks like he's getting ready to make a move here on Nosfox. He's less than half a second behind as with these drivers come through the left-hander here, getting ready to come up the hill, still holding on to less than half of a second gap between them. Bottlefed is having a little bit of a peak along the straightaway and through the center curves there. Not able to make it stick, though. So he's going to slide right into the slipstream, let Nosfox tow him along through these hairpins here. Probably have another chance at the attack as they come along through the front straightaway here.
Yeah, I mean, if I were him with those dead tires, I'd be trying to take it easy on these turns, try and get through them mistake-free, hang on to that draft, and then on the straightaway, just really take advantage of it.
Well, Bottlefed's going to decide to go against that. He has a little bit of a peek through the inside here.
Ooh, and TCR is right up behind him, too. It looks like he's going to be trying to go around Bottlefed on the outside. What a bold move. Almost makes it stick, but not quite. Bottlefed's hugging that inside.
Bottlefed protecting the inside line there. Captain riding his bumper there. Captain is going to try to make a move along the inside here through the straight, trying to decide which way he wants to go.
And surprisingly enough, with those dead tires, it looks like Bottlefed's going to try and push them another lap. So I'll be curious to see how that pans out for him. It's going to be a lot more difficult to keep control of the car, especially over some of these curves.
The TCR captain, though, knocking Bottlefed down into P5, moving up a position, taking the inside line through the center curves there. That's going to drop Bottlefed back, and Captain now having a little bit of a peek at Nosfox. Nosfox soft tires completely giving up the ghost. Captain pushing a little bit wide there, losing a little bit of time to Nosfox, but still keeping a little bit better grip on the tires. Should be able to find a little bit better pace through the rest of the lap here. And if not, there's no doubt Nosfox is going to dive into the pits at the end of this lap to replace those shot tires.
His front right tire is just absolutely shot. I mean, I can only imagine the amount of pushing that car is doing and fighting him. I mean, the Mustang tends to do that just by itself on a normal day with fresh tires. So I can only imagine how much more difficult it is to get around some of these tighter.
Nosfox doing a good job of defending, though, on those completely shot tires. Unfortunately, though, any sane driver would. He was going to have to dive into the pits here and change them out. And Tinsley also going into the pits
on
here.
A sliver. He's going to be going into the pits as well.
The first pits of the night, we got Tinsley diving in to replace soft tires, followed by Nosfox and Bottlefed. That's going to give Williams, Captain, and Rosario the opportunity to jump out in front here. Williams doing a masterful job of tire saving with the soft tires. Over a quarter left on those bad boys on his 911 there. Captain.
Yeah, I mean, he could really push those softs at least another lap or two if he really wanted to push. So we'll see if that happens.
We got Captain on the medium tires moving himself up into P2 now. Rosario sitting down in P3. Sweaty in P4. Jenny moving up into P5, finally making that move stick on SoCal. See what happened to Petey
Opening
here.
a little bit of a gap to him too, so he can breathe for a little bit right now. They're not going back and forth constantly in the draft, so I'm sure she's grateful for that.
It looks like Petey went ahead and dove into the pits as well. It gave Jenny the opportunity to move up several positions on the grid, along with SoCal Merch moving up into 7th. Tinsley coming out of the pits, new set of soft tires for him. He's going to move up into 8th.
Just in front of Method, who's hanging back. He's got a little bit of space between him and Tinsley, so unfortunately he's not going to be able to latch on to any draft. But if he got a decent amount left on his tire life for those mediums, trying to outlast people, that might be a good strat.
Tinsley starting to make up a good amount of time between himself and Merch now. That 3-second gap dropping to less than 2 seconds now.
Yeah, he is hauling, and Merch is also on the mediums, so Tinsley grabbed another pair of softs, so he's really going to be pushing that pace, and Merch is going to be trying to sit back and manage those mediums probably as long as he can.
Williams diving into the pits now. He went ahead and decided to give up his soft tires a little bit earlier than expected, so that's going to give Sweaty and Jenny opportunity to move up into P3 and P4. Rosario moving up into P2 now.
Rosario still having half of those mediums left, which is awesome, especially considering how much these turns will just scrub that tire life.
Kind of see, looking at the trend here, the 911 being the car to have for tire wear on this track right now. As you see, Captain still doing good with the tires. Rosario doing even better with the tire wear. Williams was running on the soft tire, also in the 911.
Yeah, I mean, Sweaty Super also seems to be hanging a bit, but he's got a little bit less fuel than Captain and Rosario, so they have to pit a little bit sooner than trying to run those tires completely out.
Sweaty running a consistent race, though, 32s and 33s across the board on those medium tires. Same can be said for Jenny, 32s and 33s. See the odd 34 there as those medium tires start to let go. Lexus being notoriously tricky to handle once tire life starts wearing. SoCal starting to make up a little bit of time there, less than a second still separating these drivers.
And we got Tinsley in 6 now, just absolutely hauling, trying to get back up in the pack. He's about 5 seconds behind SoCal.
Your Merch now dropping down into P7. We've got Method down in P8 in the Renault. Williams coming out of the pits, fresh set of medium tires for him. Going to be down in P9 in the 911. 5 in his 911 sitting in P10, doing excellent work with tire management. Over half of his tire life remaining on those mediums. Probably the best tire wear we've seen so far tonight.
And he's one of the closest too to having a half a tank of fuel. I mean, he's not even close to a quarter. So
could he be trying a one-stop here?
I don't know if that's exactly going to work. I mean, we're what, 19 minutes in by now?
19 minutes in, half his mediums left.
Yeah, but the gas, he's going to have to pit for fuel. Even if it's a little splash and go.
The splash and dash might be all it takes, and if he can make up a little bit of time with everyone having to either pit 2 or 3 times, like I said, strategy, as long as you commit to your strategy, it could be anyone's race still. We are now 20 minutes through this 1-hour endurance. Let's follow down the grid. Let's see what's happening here. We've got TCR Captain sitting out in first. Rosario chomping at the pit behind in his 911, 1.8 seconds behind. Sweaty sitting down in P3, losing a little bit of gap due to pit deltas here, 8 seconds behind. Jenny making her way through the field. Medium tires about shot, though. She's in P4 with SoCal right on her bumper in P5, so both these drivers get ready to come down through the center curves now. Let's stay on board with Jenny and SoCal. SoCal, both these drivers running on really worn medium tires.
Yeah, I mean, their tire wear seems to be about even, at least on the right side. The left side is a little bit of a difference, but to be honest, I don't know if it would make advantage.
With the majority of left-handers on this track, we are going to see a little bit more on the wear on the right side of the car, just due to the forces put on those tires. It is still wearing pretty evenly, though, with everybody. Looking like everyone trying to manage tires as best as they can.
Jenny goes off and allowing SoCal and Tinsley to take.
Jenny pushing a little bit wide there through the corner, so go ahead and eat up the green stuff. Fortunately, she's not going to incur a penalty from that. Kaz's wrath not going to rain down upon her now, but those two positions are going to hurt. More than likely, she's going to go ahead and pit for this one, get herself some fresh tires. You can have a little bit better attack for next time.
And behind her, about 5.5 seconds behind, is Merch. It looks like still got about half life on his tires, and he's down to about a tank of fuel. Method is about 6.5 seconds behind Merch. He's actually doing a little bit better on tire wear. He's got more than halfway of his life. He's close to a half a tank of fuel, a little bit less, but he's managing it very well.
You got Williams though, making a move along the outside though.
There. A little bit of rub in there, but nothing crazy.
No, Method just trying to give him a little bit of a squeeze there along the outside line. Nothing major, but Williams going to go ahead and make a clean pass and get himself almost 0.2 of a second ahead as he gets ready to come into the center curves now. Method right behind. A little bit heavier on the brakes there with those worn medium tires. Williams' tire still fairly fresh there. He gets a little bit better grip and pace coming out of the corner. He's going to go ahead and pull away from Method there. He's going to set up and settle in for his next attack on Merch, whose tires halfway worn, fuel less than a quarter of a tank. Going to have to pit soon. Jenny decided to stay out in her Lexus there. Medium tires nearly giving up the ghost now.
That's bold.
He did lose about 4 seconds due to that off, but many worse things have happened in this game before. She's able to hold on to P6 for now. Still 5.5 seconds ahead of Merch. He gingerly eases that Lexus through the hairpin corners there. Stay with her for just a little bit.
Yeah, I can see the back end getting a little bit loose coming through some of those corners. I'm sure it's getting real tough to handle that car at this point, but she is doing a great job at keeping it square and just running her race. And Rosario is in the pits now on the medium tires, hitting a little bit earlier than I would have thought. Probably switching to his last compound, maybe. Trying to go for this stop and then run until the end.
Could be. That is going to give Jenny, Merch, SoCal opportunity to move up. We've got Tinsley sitting in P3 now. Sweaty moving up into P2. TCR Captain still sitting out in P1. Medium tires about ready to let go now.
Interesting. Rosario opted for soft tires, so it looks like he's probably going to have to pit again, considering we're at 24 minutes. No way the softs are going to last another full half hour.
No, there is not a chance after experiencing the track firsthand with these lobby settings. Those soft tires will not last more than 12 laps at most.
So I think he's going to be trying to run out these softs, get as much time made up as he can, and then probably switch back to the mediums.
Have to check in and see once those soft tires start letting go. But we've got Captain here on nearly dead medium tires coming out of the penultimate corner up to the pit straight. So he's going to go ahead and dive into the pits. He is. The TCR Captain's going to go into the pits. That's going to give several drivers an undercut here. But Sweaty running low on fuel.
Sweaty
Car shouting at him.
Pit. Yep.
Sweaty into the pits. Tinsley.
Car is begging.
Tinsley running just fine on his soft tires. Over a quarter tank of fuel left. SoCal diving into the pits due to fuel. Jenny's going to go ahead and dive into the pits as well. Medium tires completely let go. 4 drivers sitting in the pits right now as we've got Merch coming down the straightaway. He's going to get an undercut on everybody, move himself up in P2. Fuel light on, but he's going to chance one more lap here.
As well. And Williams is just chilling on a still fairly fresh set of mediums and 3/4 of a tank of fuel. So he's going to be chilling, so when Merch hits, he's going to take that P2 back. Rosario also out here with the racing soft tires. He's got about 3/4 of a tank as well, and he's just going to be chilling in P4 for now. He'll probably take P3 when Merch goes to pits.
Not far.
It seems like his strategy is playing out pretty well.
We got Method sitting down in P5 now. A little bit of a healthy gap between himself and Nosfox. Nosfox in P6. Medium tires doing much better than Method's right now. We've got TCR Captain dropping down into P7 after pitting. We got Bottle Fed sitting in P8, medium tires slightly more. A little bit of an inside move there along Petey. Goes ahead to protect his P8 there as they get ready to come up to the first part of the hairpin sequences.
And Captain is also like right behind Nosfox, so Nosfox can't just sit back and relax. I mean, he's got, you know, Captain right behind him in the draft pretty much, and he's trying to take advantage of that.
Another battle brewing back here between Petey and Bottle Fed. Petey less than a second behind as both drivers come down left-hander up to the penultimate corner now. Bottle Fed heavy on the anchors. Petey dropping back just a little bit now, nearly a second separating him, but we've got Merch diving into the pits. Merch finally giving up due to fuel, giving Rosario opportunity for an undercut, Method opportunity for the undercut, Nosfox the undercut, Captain the undercut. So pit strategy playing a major part of this race for everybody tonight.
I mean, we're approaching the halfway point, so we're likely to see a handful more pits, so I'm sure this grid order is going to get shaken up a bit still, but...
Oh, we've had a little bit of an issue here. So we still got Bottle Fed in P7. Petey having himself a little bit of an off, picking himself up some front right damage to the car. Not sure if there was contact between him and everybody, or if he just outbroke himself trying to go into the center curves there. That damage going to affect the car and slow him down for just a short amount of time.
And that damage is all healed up now, so he's going to be right back to where he started, but he's going to have to worry about Jenny, I'm sure, because she's 2.5, a little bit more than 2.5 seconds behind, but, you know, if she's running those tires, she can really catch, like, absolutely just get that gap down to nothing.
And Jenny,
also on the soft tires instead of Petey on the medium, he has the compound advantage.
Petey getting a little bit swirly coming out of the center corners. Oh, Petey again having a little bit of an issue coming through one of the hairpins, running it just a little bit wide. It's going to give Jenny the opportunity to make the move around. She's going to go ahead and pass, move herself up into P9.
And Petey getting right behind her again, with getting that draft, trying to take advantage going into the straight. He wants that P9 back.
Petey eating a little bit of grass coming through the penultimate corner there. It does drop him back just a little bit. He's still well within the slipstream of Jenny, though. These two drivers absolutely not giving it up for the entire race. Jenny protecting the inside lines. Drag race coming down the front straightaways. Both drivers enter the center curves now. Jenny getting the inside line. Petey going to look for that switchback again. It looks like Jenny's far enough out in front to protect the apex. She's going to go ahead and hold on to P9 as they come out of the center curves and up onto the back straightaway here. Great driving from Jenny and Petey. Jenny for holding on to that P9. Great defending.
Yeah, I mean, he's still in draft, but she really opened up. I mean, on the straight, that was about a 10th, and now they're about, you know, a half a second in between. So she's kind of holding him at bay right now, doing well with the defense.
Yep, soft tires really working to her advantage right now over Petey's worn mediums. Unfortunately, that defending is going to wear down those tires a little bit faster than she probably wants to. So I have to see how that works for her pit strategy here a little bit later on in the race. Checking in with the rest of the grid like we do. We've got SoCal down in P11 now. Him becoming a little bit of a problem for Petey. Less than a second separating those two drivers. So Petey probably going to start having defending a little bit more and let Jenny get away. And Petey a little squirrely coming out of the hairpin there, but just hold on to the car. I think it's SoCal an opportunity to move
really
up even closer.
SoCal to catch up. Yep, he is coming in about a half a second behind Petey, so he's going to snag some of that slipstream going in straight here. He's going to try and take advantage of it, probably make a move on the side.
Well, Petey going wide, putting his turn signal on, letting SoCal have the inside line. Fantastic bit of respectable driving from Petey there.
Yeah, he comes right back in that slipstream, though. He's not letting him just pass without, you know, having to worry about him this whole next lap. So he's still going to be there in that rear view.
SoCal taking a strong inside line on those freshly set on soft tires there, giving him a little bit better grip and pace out of the corner. Petey pushing a little bit wide up onto the curve, coming out of the center curves there. So Petey, knowing that he doesn't have much of a battle right now with these medium tires, letting these guys on softs through. But we are only 30 minutes through this race. We still have halfway to go. This is definitely anyone's battle. Let's check in with the top of the grid here. We got Tinsley running away with this one out in front so far. Soft tires, though, about to let go. We've got Williams Medium tires looking fantastic on a half tank of fuel on his 911, but Rosario's starting to close the gap a little bit. 1.3 seconds separating
him. To worry about him.
Rosario running on
and
the first set of soft tires as well.
Yeah, he's got the compound advantage, so I won't be surprised to see that gap between Williams and Rosario go down in the next few.
Rosario setting a personal best of 130.9, not able to best Tinsley's fast lap so far of a 130.3.
Still relatively close though, because if you figure if he's trying to save any fuel, save tires, that's still a fast lap to be running when you're trying to manage tires and fuel.
TCR captain dropping back just a little bit, running on the mediums. He's got 9 seconds separating him and Rosario. Still within sight of him though. TCR captain sitting in 4th. We got Bottle Fed and Method sitting in 5th and 6th. Method having a little bit of a look at Bottle Fed here. A little bit of a battle happening for P5 now.
And Method still has not hit that I'm aware of. And he's got about half of his life on those tires.
Bottle Fed going a little wide.
He overtakes Bottle Fed.
Bottle Fed
taking advantage of that slight mistake that Bottle Fed had.
Good on Bottle Fed holding on to the car though. He keeps it on the curb. He doesn't incur the wrath of Kaz and get a penalty there. So he's still going to be able to hold on and battle back for that P5, but he's going to have to give that up to Method, take the inside line. Now you got Sweaty having a little bit of a look along the inside. Bottle Fed's going to go ahead and run out ahead. Sweaty trying to make a move along the outside there, gives him space.
Oh, and Sweaty went off a little bit, touched a little bit of grass, so he's probably going to fall off a bit from Bottle Fed, give Bottle Fed a little bit of breathing room, but he's also in the softer compound, so I'm sure we'll see him right behind Bottle Fed again very soon.
It looks like Bottle Fed's going to have a little bit of a look now up on Method, trying to make a move along the outside. Method running the inside line. Bottle Fed right up alongside him. We've got a drag race. Both drivers cross start-finish line, getting ready to enter into the center curves here. Bottle Fed still sitting out in front just a little bit. Method's going to go ahead and slot in behind and hold on to that P5 and defend against Sweaty, coming in hot through the center curves, right on the bumper of Method now.
Yeah, he is pushing.
Strong battle for P4 brewing here as we got Bottle Fed, Method, and Sweaty coming out of the center curves down the straightaway. Method have his little peak along the inside, not anywhere near enough to make a move though. All 3 drivers coming through the corner now. Is Bottle Fed going to keep it inside this time? He does. Method having a little bit of a look at the inside.
Method's having to really defend against Sweaty, but I believe he's letting everybody through, probably aware of the fact that he's got the faster compound.
He is giving Sweaty the space along the outside. He's not giving it up easily, though. Sweaty does manage to go ahead and get in front there. He's going to take P5. Method dropping down to P6 now. We've got Nosfox joining the battle here. Nosfox sitting down in P7. Having a little bit of a look at Method's mistake that he had there. And speaking of, Method getting a little sideways.
Squirrely. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes it, finishes this lap and goes into the pits. I mean, he's got less, probably, what is that, a 1/6 of a tank? Not
even. He may have a lap left
really
in that car.
Low.
But he is over halfway through this race, and I don't think he's pit yet.
He hasn't. I think he's going to be really pushing for that one-stop strat and hoping that all the other pits from the other drivers are going to make up for it.
Method's staying out.
He stays out, so it looks like he's going to push it for that last lap of fuel that he's probably got. He'll be coming into the pits next lap on fume.
Tinsley getting a much later braking point into the center curves there. Easy overtake for him. Method's tires nearly completely gone. Fuel screaming at him on the dash right now, nearly out. Clearly going for a one-stop there. Now we've got Jenny coming up behind Method now.
Yeah, and along with Jenny, I mean, SoCal is right there, just trying to keep up with Jenny and hopefully take that position. But, one of the smartest things, especially with these long races, is getting into somebody's slipstream and just kind of hanging out there. You save fuel while still maintaining pace. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of SoCal's goal right now, is trying to save a little bit of fuel while staying up with the pack as Jenny pushes to overtake a couple drivers here.
And not only that, just staying in somebody's ear for so long, you just live rent-free in their head, so no doubt you're trying to eke out a mistake out of them. That way you can make your overtake just that little bit easier and hassle-free.
And Jenny has a really clean overtake against Method. And now wow. I can't read. Anyway, SoCal peaking. Yep. He didn't quite have the opportunity to overtake, but he's going to be right behind him coming up on this straight here. So I'm sure he's going to make a move.
This has to be Method's lap to pit now. He does.
Yep, and he does.
Method going into the pits. 36 minutes through this race, clearly on a one-stop strategy. You know, checking in down here with VPR Bigsby. He did opt for that soft tire. He does have just over a quarter tank of fuel left. I'm not sure what his strategy is right now. I'm curious to see that as we get a little bit closer to the end of this race here. He is going to get himself a cut on Method.
At this point, I feel like I wouldn't really necessarily be surprised if he pits one more time and gets another set of softs and just tops off whatever fuel he needs.
Battle happening here for P6. We got Tinsley having a little bit of a peek along the inside of Nosfox. They come up the hill through the right-hander, getting ready to start the sequence of hairpins.
Tinsley makes it stick. Part of Nosfox for now.
Fresh set of medium tires. Nosfox's tires nearly gone. Nosfox pushing a little bit wider and slower through the corner gives Tinsley a great opportunity to make the overtake. And now Jenny and SoCal right behind him there. Both of their tires a little bit better as well, than both running on softs. Should have just a little bit of grip inherently than Nosfox. He's going to stay on board with
I'm
Nosfox
sure Jenny's
here.
going to be wanting to stay in that slipstream with Nosfox because SoCal is right behind her, only about a second, which can close real fast with a slight mistake.
With Jenny taking a tenth of a second off.
Rent-free.
6'10", she is within the slipstream. She's not going to have enough time or space to make a move here on the straightaway, but she might be able to make something happen after the center curves here. So I'm going to hop on board with Jenny for a little bit. These drivers come down the straightaway over the start-finish line, coming into the center curves now. Hard on the anchors as they come through the first part of it now. Jenny still less than a second behind a Nosfox. A little bit better grip and pace throughs, 0.6 of a second separating now, half of a second. So she does find a little bit of a better line through there.
Yeah, she got a little bit better of an exit. Keeps SoCal at that 1 second gap between... but she is closing that gap slightly to Nosfox, so I wouldn't be surprised if she tries to set herself up for a real good exit coming into that back straight and go for the overtake before
SoCal starting to close the distance as well. He's now less than a second off of Jenny. Jenny running into traffic from Nosfox here in P7. Not able to get around. Has a look along the inside there. Almost loses it.
Ooh.
Coming through the first hairpin.
A little bit, but hangs on to it.
She might have been trying to go to the outside there to get a switchback through that other hairpin because she did it very cleanly. And here she goes along the outside again. Looking for another switch. She's not able to make it happen, but now right on the bumper of Nosfox, they come down left-hander up to Wanko, the penultimate corner. We got 7, 8, and 9 all heavy on the anchors. SoCal right on the bumper of Jenny there. Nosfox pushing it wide. Jenny has a look along the inside. They're going to have a drag race here. Jenny's going to go ahead and take P7 away from Nosfox. Nosfox gives the indication to take it. SoCal right on the bumper of Nosfox now, getting in the slipstream of Jenny, who's out ahead. That should pull him just that little bit ahead of Nosfox there.
Holy crap, these three are just absolutely going at it. Jenny's coming out in front for right now, but SoCal is right there on her bumper, staying there like he has pretty much all race.
SoCal diving into the center corners. He takes P8 away from Nosfox. Nosfox tires virtually gone. SoCal still on the bumper of Jenny. Their soft tires really getting worn down through this battle here.
You can tell Jenny's really pushing it too. Her tires are a little bit more dead than SoCal's.
We've got a lot of love
SoCal
for the
taking
FFR guys in the chat right now, guys. I love to see it. SoCal taking the inside line, takes P7.
Jenny. Yep, he overtakes Jenny, taking advantage of that inside line. They're both going to have to pit soon, so I'm curious to see how that changes up the order here. They have a really great battle, but yeah.
Let's go ahead and check in.
Especially Nosfox. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in this lap, but I feel like Jenny and SoCal, if they really wanted to, they could push it one more lap if they want to be brave.
So many battles, it's hard to keep up here. We got to check in with the top of the grid where we've got Rosario sitting out in front now. Tinsley, no doubt, having had to have pit at some point here. He's got 3 seconds of a gap ahead of himself and Williams. Williams running himself one of the most consistent races I've seen, running 32s and 33s there across his lap time board. We've got TCR Captain still chilling out in 3rd place right now. Great gap between himself and Sweaty, who's sitting in P4 in the Mazda or in the Toyota Concept right now. Tinsley dropped back in P5, picks up the first set of mediums after running on those soft tires. I would have expected him to pick up another set of soft tires, but feels a little bit more confident on the mediums, it would seem. He's sitting out in front of Bottlefed in P6. And not far behind him, we've got SoCal and Jenny.
Here. Yep. And the two of them are likely to pit, so they're probably going to drop back a little bit. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Rosario pit again before the end of the race. I mean, his softs got less than a quarter of a tank. The softs are almost shot.
Same with
So
Clive.
if Williams can manage it, he may be able to run till the end on the medium tires. So I think maybe Flash and Dash, maybe not change tires.
Has he ran soft tires already, or is he on? I'm not sure. I can't remember.
If he was one of the first 4, which I think he was, then he started on soft. And Rosario is going into the pits. Probably going to pick up another set of softs, I would. Not much longer to go in this race. We got about 15 minutes or so.
A little bit less than 18, it looks like right now. I lost my train of thought on what we were going to say here. Well, we've got Clive sitting down in P10. He's got a 10-second gap on Merch. Merch sitting at P11 there. Mazda Concept
Wow, a
Racing.
lot of the grid is pitting right now. Rosario, Sweaty, Bottlefed, SoCal, Jenny, Nas Fox, they are all in the pit.
All right, everyone's starting to change out tires. For those of you not aware, we do have a tire requirement here at the Sigma GT Challenge. All drivers having to run medium and soft compound tires unless specified for certain races that may or may not involve race.
Rosario comes out on another fresh set of softs, filling up to about 3/4 of the tank, so that's probably going to be his last pit. Bigsby coming, oh, he actually hasn't pit yet. I was assuming he was coming out of the pits, but he has not. He's on fairly worn softs. Well, I'm thinking I have to pit because I don't think he's got enough fuel to run the end, so he'll probably pick up another set of softs to try to push the pace there. 8 seconds behind him, we've got Sweaty on a fresh pair of softs, about 3/4 of a tank of fuel. 2 seconds behind him, we've got Merch on a somewhat worn set of mediums. We've got a little less than a half a tank of fuel. Then behind him, behind Merch, we've got SoCal about 4.5 seconds behind on the fresh set of racing softs with about 3/4 of a tank of gas. Behind, we've got Petey, 1.5 seconds behind on a worn pair of softs. He'll likely have to pit before the end of the race. Behind him, we've got Jenny, only a half a second behind on a fresh set of softs. She'll be running those till the end, and a little bit less than 3/4 of the tank, so she probably picked up about the minimum amount of gas with virtually no extra. And she is really trying to overtake Pete. Got Bottlefed right behind him, right behind her, about half a second behind on a fresh pair of softs. Also with about a little less than 3/4 of a tank of fuel. So
Oh, Petey has an off.
Oh, and Petey is off. So Jenny and Bottlefed will take those positions. And he is hanging on just in front of Nas Fox. Nas Fox now about 4.5 seconds behind on a fresh set of softs and 3/4 of a tank of gas.
Petey dives into the pits, has a little bit of a cross with the pit line there. I'm not sure if he's going to pick up a 3-second coming out of the pits or not. I'm going to check in with that here in the next 30 seconds
Clive
or so.
also pitted. He is getting some fuel and probably a new set of softs. So him and Petey will be in the back here with probably a fresh set of softs.
Method gets the undercut on those two. I think Method's one-stop strategy starting to pay off a little bit, getting some easy undercuts and positions there, manages to make his way up into P11, only 3 seconds behind a Nosfox there, but Nosfox, a little bit fresher set of softs. He's not going to have to pit again for the rest of this race. Got Williams going into
a pit. Yeah, he doesn't have enough fuel, so I'm thinking he's probably going to take advantage of the pit stop. If he's got to get fuel anyway, he may as well get a new set of tires. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him switch to a pair of softs, fill up just as much as he needs, and push for this last stint of the race.
All right, we are 40 minutes down now in round 3 of Sigma GT Challenge, sponsored by Six Sigma Sig Racing. Yeah. If you haven't checked them out already, I've got the link in the chat here. Go ahead and click on it. Give them a shot. They got great stuff at great prices, guys. You're missing out. And while you're at it too, go ahead and join the Discord. Keep up with all the news, the events, the standings, and everything else, the one-off races that we do now and then. The Nosfox down here in P10 right now. We've got Method in P11. Clive coming out of the pits now. Fresh set of soft tires, starting to push the 911 a little bit, almost going wide. Holds on to the car though to the penultimate corner. Coming through the front straightaway now. We've got Petey dropping down into P13. Didn't get a chance to check in, see if he had incurred that penalty or not. Doesn't look like it coming out of the pits here. Looks like he managed to hold on to the car. But he picks up a set of medium tires for the rest of the race. It's an interesting choice there.
Yeah, Clive is on the softs, and ahead of him we've got Method. Method is about a half a tank of fuel with somewhat worn softs, but he may be... Again, I mean, we've seen him do some crazy fuel and tire savings. So.
But we got Tinsley captain of the pits now. Tinsley getting the undercut on that, moving up into P1. Medium tires halfway worn, though. He's going to lose a little bit of grip there. Captain just now in the pits.
He's got half a tank, so he's probably going to be pushing those to the very end.
Rosario, though, on his final stint, moving up into P2, getting an undercut on Captain. Captain coming out of the pits. Williams getting ready to enter into the center curves now. Williams going to have enough pace to get the undercut on Captain as Captain gets ready to come out of the pits here. Hop on board with Williams. Let's get his view as he comes out of the pits. He's going to come out side by side with Captain here.
Ooh, yeah, he is right there. The two of them are definitely going to be having a battle here during this last stint.
Oh, punt! We got a punt here from Captain. Williams tries to make a move along the inside to protect the corner. Captain a little bit late on the brakes there. I would call that a racing incident, seeing it at the time, but no doubt we are going to have a review of that at some point here. We still have over 10 minutes to go in the race.
And despite going off track, I mean, Williams is really not that far behind. He's got a fresh set of softs, like a little bit more than a half tank of fuel. So that 2 seconds, he could certainly make that up within the last 10 minutes or so. Captain still has to worry about him a bit.
No damage incurred from either car. Williams lucky to escape Kaz's wrath. Doesn't get a penalty there, cutting through the line. No doubt due to the contact there. He does drop him down into P4.
Yep, and he's got a decent gap between him and Sweaty, so, you know, 10 seconds, he'll be chilling for a bit. As long as there's no major mistakes or any other incidents, you know, got P4, I think, in the bag for right now.
We will see. We've got Tinsley sitting out in P1, 10 seconds ahead of Rosario in P2. Rosario sitting 6 seconds ahead, of Captain. Captain in P3, a little bit of issue with him and Williams coming through the left-hander there. But Captain just ahead of Williams down in P4 now. We got Sweaty moving up to P5, having himself a clean, consistent race, starting to run some 31s on those soft tires of his. But SoCal sitting down in P6, but we now got Jenny and Bottlefed getting ready to have themselves a little bit of a battle here. Less than a second separating these two drivers here.
And Merch is pitting. He's got 22% of fuel. He's got about halfway worn mediums. I think he's looking to get a nice fresh set of softs on so we can really push this last 10 minutes or so.
Clive, though, is going to get an undercut on Merch here. Clive sitting on fairly fresh tires and more than enough fuel to finish out this race. Shouldn't have anything to worry about with Merch. Merch going to go ahead and pick up some soft tires here. He comes out of the pits now. He should stay ahead of Petey here. Petey having a little bit of an issue on a couple laps here, dropping down into P13. Looks like he's going to finish out this race on medium tires.
And Merch gets a 3-second penalty. He may have cut the pit line somewhere. I don't think on exit, but probably on entry.
3 seconds.
That's really going to hurt.
Is the pit penalty time, so that is what he had to have done there somewhere. This 3 seconds really going to hurt as we come down to the final stages of this race. We are 50 minutes and a half through this race now. Less than 10 minutes to go. Checking back in with Jenny and Bottlefed. We still have these two drivers sitting in P7 and P8 respectively. Jenny finding a little bit of breathing room now on Bottlefed, trying to get out of that slipstream range. Bottlefed not going to have enough space or time to make a move as they come into the center corners, but will be a problem for Jenny here in the later stages of the race. Battlefed's soft tire's just that little bit better than Jenny's.
You can tell that Jenny's really pushing, though. I mean, she's trying to get a faster lap time, especially now that she's dwindling down on that fuel a bit. Trying to open up that gap between her and Battlefed. But Battlefed's staying there. He's about half a second behind, so he's going to have that draft this whole lap. She's really going to have to worry about him coming into that straight if he doesn't make a move on any hairpins or anything.
Fox sitting in a comfortable P9 right now. Half tank fuel, soft tires, still getting a little bit more than half
Battlefed
life
and
right
Jenny
there.
are side by side right now. Jenny hugging the inside, really taking that defensive line, trying to keep Battlefed on the outside. And Battlefed overtakes.
Battlefed clean move along the outside. Jenny looking for a little bit of a switchback though. Quite proficient at that. We've seen her make that move more than once throughout this race here. Still sitting very close to the bumper of Battlefed there as they come through the hairpin sequences.
Yeah, she is not letting up. She's really going to try and stay really close that way on that straightaway. She can probably try and take that P7 back.
8 minutes left in this race, about 5 or 6 laps to go here from everybody. Jenny's still sitting on the bumper of Battlefed as they come through Lonco, the penultimate corner up onto the front straightaway now. 0.3 of a second. Jenny might have a little bit of room here to make a move.
Yep. Certainly in that slipstream range, so we'll see if it's enough to get that inside move on turn 1. She may hang back though. Yeah, and she stays behind, just trying to stay close. Within 2/10 now. She's really hanging on through all these S-curves and whatnot, so, you know, stays here and just stays as an oil painting in his rearview mirror. If he makes any type of mistake, she'll be there to take advantage.
Jenny dropping back just a little bit, half second now between herself and Battlefed. Both drivers coming through left-hander up the hill now, getting ready to start the sequence of hairpins. She is not going to let up easily. We still have 7 minutes to go in this race. You can see in the background there Fox's lights as he's trying to close the gap between those two drivers now. Now we've got Method on that one stop, moving up into P10 now. So that strategy really starting to work out for him. He's starting to gain some positions, but I don't see him being able to catch up to Fox on the soft tire there. Fox
Yeah, it's
going to
be a bit rough considering he's already got about half life there, and he's still going to make these soft laps for probably about, what, 5 laps? 4 or 5 laps? So if you're really pushing hard and with the fuel and everything, it may be a little bit tough for him to try and make up those seconds.
We got Clive sitting in P11. Merch down here was the story I wanted to check in from earlier, incurring that 3-second pit lane penalty. Doesn't look like it had too much of an effect on him. Petey's still 7 seconds behind here. He might have had himself a little bit of an issue through one of the corners there. Petey's still rounding on our grid in P13. Story up front, though, is Tinsley leading by 4 seconds. We've got Rosario himself leading 4 seconds over Captain, who's down in P3, 4 seconds ahead of Williams there. We got Sweaty and SoCal, a little bit of gap between themselves. So real battle right now, still brewing between Battlefed and Jenny. Fox, though, picking up another second there between those two drivers. Now 3 seconds separating as opposed to the 4, and that delta is dropping every time we check in now. But Jenny's starting to drop off a little bit from Battlefed. As we get ready to cross
and Battlefed's also catching up a bit to SoCal, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a battle here between Battlefed and SoCal in these last few laps. You know, we're going to see these drivers really pushing these last few laps to try and get every position that they can. But it's also the sun's going down, so the track's going to be a little bit colder, so maybe likely to see a little bit more sliding, a few more mistakes, especially as the tires are getting worn down too. So a lot of them have opted for soft.
Looks like most drivers trying to gauge their tires as best as they can. Just looking at Sweaty here randomly, his tire's about a third remaining on the softs. We've got less than 5 minutes left in round 3 of Sigma GT Challenge at Interlagos to the Brazil. To Sweaty sitting in P5. We got Williams in P4, Rosario in P3 right now. 2 seconds only separating him and Captain. Captain having a little bit of a pace issue there, starting to lose time to Rosario, and Tinsley starting to run away with it a little bit now, 7 seconds ahead of the rest of the group here. Captain now 2 seconds separating him and Rosario. Rosario's starting to pull away from Williams. We did have 4-second gaps between all these drivers. We can start to see Rosario push a little bit in the 911. Still has great life left in those soft tires. Within the last
oh yeah, he'll be chilling for these last couple of laps.
Let's check in with SoCal and Bottle Fed. These two drivers are getting closer and closer. Nothing's changed here. We still get closer and closer. 1.3 seconds separating both of them. Jenny still falling off just that little bit. 3 seconds now between herself and Bottle Fed.
But she's still got 4 seconds between her and Nos Fox. So as long as she keeps on the pace that she's at right now, then she should be good until the end of the race.
Less than 4 minutes to go in the race now. Jenny sitting in P8, Nosfox P9, that 4-second gap, like you said. Nosfox sitting in a comfortable P9, those 17-second gap separating himself in Method. Method trying the one-stop strategy here. Soft tires, still about half the life between them, but he's got Clive Bigsby right behind him. More wear left in those tires right now.
He may need to consider to start pushing a little bit these last couple of laps if he wants to be that, maintain that defensive position against Clive. I mean, Clive is going to be in his draft within the next turn or two, so he's definitely going to have to keep that in mind. And he's got the tires and he's got the fuel to last him these last few minutes here. Be able to pull it off.
Edie rounding out our grid here in P13. The flag starting to pop up. Still quite a bit of space between himself and the rest of the grid here. Picks up a little bit of grass to one of the hairpins there. A little squirrely coming out of it.
A little squirrely, but holds on to it.
But Petey really trying to push that BMW as hard as he can, make up for some of the offs that he's had throughout the race. Still running consistently though when he is running 32s, 33s. But commentators curse kicking in.
Into the grass. Yikes. And Tinsley goes by. He's waiting for everybody to go by so we can have a safe re-entry.
It's the kind of racing you want to see. He lets the front runners to go by and have that battle. Tinsley losing a little bit of time there. 2 seconds separating him and Captain. Captain moving up into P2 now. Rosario P3. We got Williams sitting down in P4. Sweaty in P5. But starting to get a little bit closer up front here, but we got less than 2 minutes to go in this race.
We got Bottle Fed within 3/10 of SoCal, but he went into the grass a little bit, so he's going to lose a bit of speed, unfortunately, coming into that last straight here. So he's really going to have to push these last couple of laps to make up for that time that he just lost if he wants to overtake SoCal.
So these drivers right here, Bottle Fed, SoCal, they are starting their last lap now. They're going to cross over into the 1 hour mark on this lap, so they'll be the first ones to finish. Looks like a front 3 runners here going to be able to get themselves another lap in potentially. Williams might be pushing it a little close. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get himself another lap in. He might be the first one to finish here tonight, sitting in P4. He's got 8 seconds separating himself and Sweaty right now. SoCal still sitting less than a second though ahead of Bottle Fed. This is probably our last battle potential that we're going to see here tonight, everybody.
Well, Method and Clive, they are within half a second from each other back here as well, battling for that P9. Method really trying to take that defensive line and maintain that position in the last couple of laps here.
I clearly spoke.
But it looks like Clive has, it looks like Clive has a lot more life in those soft tires, and he's given a couple of peaks here on the inside of Method.
Gets right on the bumper of Method as they come through the left-hander. No contact between the drivers, but he is knocking on the door of Method right now, letting him know I'm here. Just an oil painting in the mirrors right now. Drivers are on their last lap as we get down to 10 seconds left in the race. Method parking it on the apex, protecting the line as best as he can, still sitting on a P10. You got Clive sitting in P11.
Really hugging those insides.
So Clive trying to have a little bit of a look along the inside, maybe has a look along the outside. Contact between them. Clive has a little bit of contact between himself and Method, pushes Method ahead. Method holds on to the car though. Now Method running ahead.
Coming into the last straight over the finish line, SoCal maintains P6.043 seconds ahead of Bottle Fed.
400ths of a second.
Racing softs were literally a sliver away from dying, so he has really just pushed those tires to their absolute limit this last stint.
TCR Captain.
Phenomenal driving.
Captain moving up into P1 takes it away from Tinsley. Tinsley dropping down into P2, now under pressure from Rosario, second half behind him. Let's see what happens. as these drivers come into the penultimate corner for the last time tonight. Tinsley holds on to the car. He is losing time, though. 1 second. Less than a second. It's not going to be enough time for Rosario to make a move.
Shot.
Tinsley trying to hold on.
Oh my goodness.
Captain Soft Tires giving him much more grip and pace there. It's going to be Captain taking the win tonight.
Boy.
Tinsley P2, Rosario not far behind in P3. We got Williams clean race here.
Coming up behind P4.
P4, we got Sweaty in P5, SoCal, Bottlefed, and Jenny with some of the best
Sweaty's
racing
tires
I've
are
seen.
completely dead.
So,
absolutely to the limit.
We got a lot of love for Tinsley in the chat here. He put on a hell of a race. But man, Bottlefed, Jenny, Nosfox,
Jenny
all
absolutely
of them.
drove her fronts to being dead as well. Absolutely insane. We've got TCR captain for the winner here. And he raced position by 2. So he really put on a great strat and a great battles to raise.
That was absolute insanity.
It was. But you know what? I expected nothing less. These Pro-Am drivers from the very start in qualifying and everything, they have been very close to each other, and it was bound to put on some great battles like we've seen tonight.
Let's go ahead. Let's check in with the grid winners tonight. We got Captain out in front. Tinsley, 2 seconds behind. He's going to bring home P2 tonight. We got Rosario sitting in P3. Williams, P4, putting on an excellent, consistent race. We got Sweaty Palm sitting in P5. SoCal, Bottlefed, Jenny, 6, 7, and 8. Incredible racing from those two. We got Nosfox in P9, Method P10, Clive in P11, Merch in P12, and we got Petey, the newcomer, rounding us out, P13 in the BMW. Shout out to Method for the one-stop strategy and great defense on that
was
last
insane.
lap.
Some great fuel saving and tire saving for him to make it all the way to the end. That's impressive. I had Case in my chat, you know, just absolutely wondering how Method saved that much fuel. So
look,
GG's to him.
Having raced that exact race last night, I have no idea how he managed to save that much fuel, so props to him.
Yeah, GG's, man. Fuel saving in general for a race this long is not easy when you're also trying to battle, so saving that much for the hour, impressive.
Minor incidents throughout the race, but overall very clean driving from everybody tonight. Fantastic race. I think that's where I'm going to go ahead and call it here, everybody, but hold on a second because we still got one thing that we've got to do here.
Do now.
Hold on. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Hold on.
Save and share the replay.
I'd like to thank Artemis for coming out here tonight, being a co-commentator with me. Fantastic job to her as well, and thanks for that. We're going to go raid her, so you better stick around for that, because we are coming over right meow.
Oh God, y'all are going to see the chaos. I can't speak English. Thunder!
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Hang out with Art. Be sure to give her the follow here. Give her the sub if you're feeling generous. Thanks for coming out watching the race. It's going to be up on YouTube later on within the next 24 hours. Y'all have a good night.
tongue.